Welcome to the doghouse. Hope you're all having a great day. I know I sure am. Hope your whole weekend was good for you too. This is about Antifa going to jail. I know there'll be some people get offended on here for this, but you know, mainly talking about the Portland deal, even though Chicago's involved too, even worse than Portland. You know, so many people have gone out there. This guy, he says he's not the leader. Maybe he's not, but he comes across by the name of Chandler. Sooner or later, in my opinion, it might not be now, but within the next few years, that guy's going to be in jail. No doubt. No doubt that them supplies, some of them are coming paid by somebody, obviously. And what I mean by that, everybody thinks everybody that's there is paid or with it, they're with Antifa, but paid or whatever. They're not. You only want a few people you want to pay, because you want suckers out there to go out in front of everybody else. And that's exactly what they do. So some of these guys out there are oblivious to what is going on. But you look when they went in Sunday and took down, Saturday or Sunday, they took down their encampment, which, by the way, was illegal to start with, blocking off the sidewalk and wouldn't let people walk down it. There's a problem in itself. But when they tore it down, there was thousands of dollars worth of equipment sitting there. Just go look if you don't believe me. And some of these people out there wouldn't be able to afford it. Some may, but not all of them. And like I said, somebody is supplying them, and they are an organization, not just individuals. But this organization is very, very smart. Don't get me wrong, because they are smart. That's where you get a few people running things. You pay a few people, directly or indirectly. It may not see a dollar sign to them, but just look at what's going on. And yes, I've heard, well, it's not associated with anything. Look at all them homemade signs. You realize a lot of them homemade signs did not come out until after they was called out, and the president called them out for all these signs that were printed out. Then they started to change. But I guarantee you, some of them holding them signs, the homemade signs, are really homemade, and these people really believe in what they are doing. Not all. That's what I mean. If you're the upper ones, you want sheep. You want these sheep out there to do your dirty work for you. That's exactly what you want. These people to go out there and do this stuff. When they're on by that blue line, you notice it's loudmouths and that up on there. They're getting encouraged by the upper people in Antifa to do that, because they don't want to be involved. They want to sacrifice other people, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're sacrificing other people for their own means. And I don't see how people don't think there's money involved here. Just look at what's around. I bet you, though, you go unmask them all, you'll find lawyers, doctors, and others involved here too. There's no doubt. And they could be supplying some of the money too. But there still has to be an upper chain. And there is no way these guys are going out there and the police was letting them do what they wanted to do without there some type of deal going on with them to look the other way. And it's not always money. It could be very well other things. a police officer is like anybody else. And if you can brainwash them into letting you get away with stuff like that, and there's no money or anything else going out, more power to them people doing that in their mind. Because the city of Portland itself is corrupt. There was one guy, police officer, took a F Trump flag away. He arrested this guy, but when he was walking away, he had it in the air, pumping it up and down. No way should that police officer be on that force. And when they go out, it's the right-wingers they go after to arrest. And it's been on tape, this just ain't me, that it's the other side doing it and they react, they go after them and let the left-wingers go. And they have video of it. What does that tell you? And there's some really good people out there doing a good job. Nick Shirley, or I can't say it, Cheryl. There's a guy I really like. He's obnoxious in a lot of ways, and anybody on here ought to go listen to him, either on here or X. Tommy Boy. And they made him famous. Antifa made this guy famous. He had knocked out 2 different people at 2 different times. And when he got arrested the second time, and they've shown that the Antifa person was really the one instigating it. Somebody comes after you or has a can of bear spray in their hand and coming towards you, what are you going to do? I don't care if you're skinny or tall, it don't matter. But when this stuff come out, it made him so famous. They put him where he can't come within 200 feet of ice. I tell you what, he gets more people around him now than the ice building at times. These guys are so ignorant. The Antifa, they doxed him and everything else, and he quit his job, and they say he got fired, which he didn't. But he quit his job because he thought a lot of the people that he was working for. But when he did this, he is now making a lot of money, maybe not super lot, but he's making more money now of being an independent journalist than he did at his job. And I tell you, he gets thousands and thousands of viewers all the time. Why? Antifa made him famous. Thank you, Antifa. I'm sure Tommy Boy's out there saying thank you to Antifa. You got triggered and you set him off, or you put him in a position that he gets money now for your stupidity. Now, I just seen another guy that has a channel out here, and I didn't see it the other night, when Chandler's girlfriend and this other rebel, something I can't say for sure what her real name is on there, but anyway, they got in a fight. Chandler actually grabbed, and like I said, I just seen this a few minutes ago, grabbed this one lady that was fighting with his girlfriend and started choking this lady with his arm until they made him stop. And he's actually the one, just before that, he was saying how he picked on, this other guy was picking on little people and really standing up and acting really big. Then you see this photo, or this video, of what he was doing. Who's the woman abuser? That was a real woman. Now, the one Tommy got, because of his 200 feet deal, they say she or he or it, whatever you want to call it, was a female, and they're on him for hitting a female. Well, He's a man, and he will always be a man, regardless of what he thinks he is. He is always a man. Maybe a weak man, but a man. But these guys are just so unhinged out there. And there's been so much done by independent people. Honey Badger Mom. And some of these guys that are out there doing this don't necessarily are buddies with everybody, but they get along, they get the job done. They may not like some of what one or the other say, but they set that aside to get the job done they want to do, and that's the way it should be. You don't have to like everybody, even if they're on your side. You just have to stand together. And remember, Antifa says they're not violent, and they're always the ones that actually is starting the violence. And this happens all the time. You should go look at some of these independent journalists out there. Even if you're not really into watching them, watching Portland or Chicago, just look and go pick up some of these names out there and look what they are doing. One guy has spent $2,000 or $3,000 on phones because Antifa would knock it out of his hand and that. Remember, these people are peaceful. Antifa's peaceful. Remember that. Just because you've seen that don't mean they're not peaceful. And there's no doubt these guys are organized. And like I said, you don't want everybody there. You don't want to be paying people a bunch of money so they start ratting on each other. The least amount of money you're pouring out into certain people to get the job done, because there are always suckers in our lives. And when you find a bunch of suckers that'll go out there and do your dirty work for you, that's what you do. You let them do the dirty work. And that's 100% what they're doing. I don't feel sorry for them for what they're doing, but they're gullible enough to fall for it. And Antifas, remember, they're perfectly harmless, but they're one of the most violent. That's why they're on the violent deal now. Domestic terrorist group. You don't put a group on there if they're not organized. You just don't, but they are. But the problem is you have to pick out the ones that are organizing it. Everybody that says they're Antifa, like I said, it's not necessarily in the upper organization. You don't have that many supplies, and they showed them by just a person off the street. You find them suckers to work for you, and you do it. And it don't cost you a damn dime. Maybe a Band-Aid or two if they get hurt, or water. Maybe somebody will bring some meat and they'll eat. But that's it. And Antifa is a bad organization. You may be offended by that, but they are. They have one agenda, is to destroy. And they don't care. They do say they're not left or right, which is fine, but they're still there to destroy everything in their path. And that's what their plan is to do. And whoever is funding them. But you have to get that through your head. Not everybody is getting funded in there. They're finding suckers to go do their dirty work for them. And I'm telling you, some of these people are going to wind up in jail. They don't think so, and it might not be today, it might be 2 years down the road. A lot of these guys will be in jail. They think they're bulletproof because they may have the police department on their side. And like I said, it don't have to be money necessarily, but for some reason they get them on their side. You can see it just by the arrests they're making. And I'm sure we don't hear about it, but I'm sure there's an investigation going on by the DOJ with the Portland City Council and the police department. Don't be surprised if it don't come out. They're actively involved in that, which they should be because of how they are acting. Somebody has got to be pushing at least one or two of them to fight for them. And once again, you don't need everybody. You just need that few that'll convince others you're doing what needs to be done. And some of them really believe they're doing what they're doing needs to be done, and they're wrong. And they will always be wrong. And it's just a shame to see this happen. Police are a good thing, not a bad thing, but they can be corrupt just like anybody else. And sooner or later, it will catch up with them, and it already is starting to catch up with them. And they don't know how to handle it. That's like the past couple of days, them cleaning everything up and that. That is because Trump wants to bring in the National Guard, and that's coming up in court. So the best way to do it is to say, look, see, we don't need them here. Look at our streets. This is what we are doing. You know what's going to happen? They're going to let them move right back onto the street if this isn't stopped. And the National Guard is not called in. Yes, Chicago is worse than Portland, but it's still the same concept as what's going on. Antifa is bad. Antifa needs to be in jail. And Chandler showed that to where he grabbed that lady by the throat, and he was just belittling somebody just before that. But they're not violent. They don't hit women. They don't do this to women. It was right there for the world to see. And I'm sure eventually, and it's probably already in the works somewhere along the line, they probably have intel in their own organization. And don't be surprised. And like I said, it might not be today, tomorrow, or the next day, or a month from now, or whenever. They are going to find out who, what, and where in Portland, and they are going to raid them. Maybe they're not even in Portland where everything, the information had. It could be way away from there, which could very well be too. But at some point, they will go after, in Portland, Chandler. They are going to go after him, whether he wants to admit it or not. He's in their eyes doing something wrong. All these peaceful Antifa out there, you know, you got to comply with what they want. They took over a street, wouldn't let people, or sidewalk, public sidewalk. They want to fight anybody that walked down it. Well, go around. Well, that's not the point. The point is they should have been able to walk, and they are to this day now walking through. But like I said, if the court turns down Trump on sending the National Guard in, odds are them tents and that will be back on. because they want to look the other way. Not only they hate Trump, but that's an area through there that just hates everybody. And if they want to go out and argue, well, I don't like left, I don't like right, there's legitimate reasons for that. But you don't need to do violence. You can go there, protest, move out of their way when they open the gates. Don't fight them, don't scream at them. When they go back in, you're back where you were. That is the right way to protest. What you are doing is a riot. And it really is. There's a big difference between protest and a riot. And some of these people just don't get it. There's a couple of people I've seen in there, especially one. Somebody pointed out he goes to different protests. And I'm sure there's paid protesters there too. What a good job to have. But Antifa thinks they're better than everybody else, and this is where they start to get taken down. Everybody wants it now, not necessarily how it works. It's going to take time, and I do believe there's probably people infiltrated in it. And there will be others going to jail. For all you out there that don't think that, keep thinking that. Keep thinking like it's okay. Nobody's going to go to jail for it. But like I said, this could take a lot. It's probably started a long time ago. It's going to take longer to get to the bottom of it. But they don't know how to go out and protest. All they want is violence. Every time somebody says something they don't like, they want to start something. So, really, go watch Tommy Boy and some of these other people out there. J.D. DeLay has stuff on his channel. Good man. He don't know me and I don't know him, but what he puts out is great. What I put out is mostly shorts, so stuff like this is just on the side. I'm not making any money. I'm not getting a whole bunch. Well, I got subscribers, but not a lot. I mean, 23 something hundred. But I'm not on here for that. I just want to get my feelings out there. And that's important. It's not important to me how many subscribe or anything else. I wasn't even going to get monetized. I was staying away from that. I'm like, well, I don't have to do anything. It would, I might get $100 or something like that because of the ads. But I'm on here and people look, so why not? I'm not doing anything for that money. Even that little amount, and that's good because I'm not changing what I'm doing to satisfy others. But really, Tommy Boy, J.D. DeLay, neither one of them know me or from Adam. Go watch them. Honey Badger Mom's another good one. And there's several others out there. Some of them's been to the White House. And this is a problem. They're out there doing what they think, and I do think also, what is right. Just because you don't like the president, don't mean these people are doing wrong. They're trying to get the truth out there. Here's what the meme and the real media, they're real media, but mainstream media is not doing that. Every time they do that, for the most part, now and then you'll see it at night, they go in the daytime where there isn't a lot of people. That's like the mayor. walking down these beautiful streets and say they don't have a problem. She stayed completely away from where the problem was. And mainstream media kisses her butt and won't go out there at night because they know what's going on and they don't want people to know it. Where these independents are out there showing people what's going on. Yeah, you got a few people that think they're out there that sticking up for Antifa that think they're really hot stuff, and they ain't got a clue in life. They're out there making money. All these guys should make money for what they're doing. And this is another contrast. See, they should. What I'm doing, no. But I tell you what, even though these people don't know me, I do give them a shout out for every good thing they are doing. And I appreciate it. I appreciate every one of them independents out there doing this. Because if it wasn't for them, Portland wouldn't even come up on the map. Now because of it is, them people, for the most part, them people that weren't getting no peace and rest, the apartments around there, this is sure helping getting them out of there. Way to go. Keep up the good work, every one of you out there that's putting out what you're putting out, because you're putting out the right stuff. The mainstream media ought to take a good look at what you're doing, because you're doing it right and they're doing it wrong, but they're doing it wrong on purpose. So you guys keep up the good work and show what's really going on out there. Thank every one of you.